Hi, this time I wanted to talk about descriptions, or rather appropriate ways of describing the adventure site environments, no matter the setting. You could say it's a dungeon description, more or less, that is taking into account the dungeon as an adventure site, but it could be any place. It could be a mansion in a modern setting, it could be a space station or something. I recently noticed, I think it was yesterday, Spence uploaded a video. He was streaming with Rick. I'm going to put the link in the description. And I saw that they were talking about maps. I haven't seen the entire stream. So if there are some similarities, Spence, Rick, if you are watching this video, let me know in the comment section. So it's going to be very interesting if the things that I am going to be talking about match with some of the things that they are discussing in that stream video. Okay, when it comes to communicating the dungeon environment, you only need to take into consideration a few essential details. When it comes to the game master and the players, I think they will both benefit from this understanding. If you are describing a room as a game master, dungeon master, etc., you should divide things into three tiers. The first tier, the architecture of the room. That is, when the characters enter the room, first describe the shape. Is it square shaped? Is it circular? Kidney shaped? There are some very weird dungeons. So I think this is a very good way to start describing the room, the shape. Then go towards the dimensions or size. It's this number of feet wide, this deep, the ceiling is this tall. So those are the basic dimensions. Then move on to the color of the room. The room is made out of red brick, or the room is covered in beige tapestries, or wallpaper perhaps. Then move on to the number of exits and where they are located. Maybe you have a normal door at the center of the north wall, and there is some sort of circular chute in the ceiling. And there is a trapdoor, an obvious trapdoor in the northeast corner. So, and then you can give more details according to the player's interactions with the room. Maybe they want to appraise the exact size of this or that, etc. And that's basically it when it comes to the architecture. The shape, the size or dimensions, the color, and the number of exits or entrances into the room or outside of the room, leading you outside of the room. Then you move on to the furnishings, the furnishings of the room. There is a chest here, there is a mirror propped up against the west wall, there is this bookcase in the south wall, next to the south wall. In the center of the room there is a table, there is an altar, a fountain, etc. Any sort of furnishing, any sort of furniture, objects, anything that is not alive. Or maybe something that could be alive or is alive in a certain way, but it feels more like part of the room, like maybe there are roots or vines. That could also be considered sort of like the objects. But, and like I said, this is loose because maybe they come alive, the vines and the roots start to move, and perhaps they are like enemies and such. And then you move on to the creatures in the room. There is an old lady with a staff, dressed in rags, close to the northwest corner. Or maybe you see three strange looking dogs. They are hairless, they are of a pinkish bluish coloration, and they seem to be eating something in the far end of the south wall. So you can describe things like that. And those are the basic three tiers in order to describe and understand a room. When it comes to the game master, start out with, like I said, with the architecture, which is again the shape of the room, the size, the color, and the exits and entrances. Move on to the furnishings, what objects, what furniture lies in there. Then move on to the creatures. If the creatures are hidden or invisible, you are obviously not going to describe them. And yes, that's basically it. If there are some very complex rooms with strange shapes, like the kidney-shaped room, but in a side on the, let's say, upper left or northwest part of the kidney, as you're mapping, there is an alcove. Just wait until the characters make that turn around the kidney curve. So like they are moving, and suddenly you say, on the northwest, you see a small alcove. It is not very big, 5 feet of height, with a depth of 2 feet, 3 feet wide, and in the middle of that alcove there is a strange statue of a goblin standing with its arms crossed. And that's how you describe things. The architecture, the furniture or furnishings, and the creatures that lie in that room. And when it comes to players mapping the room, you can make a simple map if you want. You can make it as painstakingly accurate as you wish. But if you want, you could only use like a little drawing of a square, or a circle, or an oval, depending on the shape of the room. Just to make some small markings of perhaps 30 by 40 by 50 with the width of the room, how deep the room is, and the height of the ceiling. And then you could describe the color. You can also draw the exits, just like small corridors out of the room. Make sure you note down if there is, like I said, a weird entrance or exit in the ceiling or on the ground. Then describe the furniture, like table, chair, mirror. And the creatures, you can also describe those, but they may end up dying depending if they are enemies or not, or maybe they flee from the room. But it's still a good tip to note down the enemies that you encountered in that room. Maybe you can make sense of things. Maybe you start to notice a pattern of encountering lots of, let's say, ghouls in a particular section of the dungeon. You could be thinking, oh, maybe there is a ghoul lair around here, or maybe that section of the dungeon is cursed and the undead are rising as ghouls, or humans are being transformed into ghouls, depending on how you handle things. So I hope those tips were useful, again, because I want to repeat this until it is ingrained in your brain, until it is made your own. The architecture, which includes the shape, the size, that is dimensions, the furnishings, the exits and entrances of the room, and then you move on to the furnishings, and then to the creatures. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know your thoughts on this. And like I said, I'm pretty curious as to how what Rick and Spencer said in their video. This also simplifies mapping a lot. If you, like I said, if you don't want to, you don't even need to draw the shape of the room. You could say something like circular shaped room, but it's easier in my opinion just drawing a small circle and then just making those additional notes and connecting things through corridors that you either draw or perhaps through lines with details of the corridors. It's all about what you like, what you feel comfortable with when mapping the dungeon. Well, once again, thank you for watching my videos. If you have any other questions or comments, please let me know. Thank you for your likes and your comments, and thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.